Good afternoon. This is the Spokane City Council Finance and Administration Committee meeting, and I would like to turn it over to Chair Councilwoman Wilkerson.
Thank you, Councilmember Mumm, and welcome everyone to our Finance and Administration Committee meeting today. We have an extremely full agenda and lots to cover, so we're going to dive right in. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes, please?
So moved. Second.
Any corrections? All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you. Are there any items on consent that we would like to be pulled for further discussion today? Councilmember Mumm.
Items C and D, please.
C and D? Is there anyone to speak to C today about the 3 appointments?
This is Megan Steinolfson, and I can speak to those.
Great. Councilmember Mumm, your concerns?
Hi, Megan. If you could tell us who those folks are and if they meet the requirements of the code and charter.
Absolutely. So we have 3 appointments. The first is the appointment of Kyle Tuig to the Engineering Services Director. So Mr. Tuig was previously confirmed by City Council in 2013 into the Engineering Operations Manager position. Over the last 8 years, his duties have grown and expanded to include tasks and duties not reflected in the original job description that he was hired into. In 2021, HR reviewed the work performed by Mr. Tuig, and we determined a classification update was necessary, and further, our recommendation is that he be actually more appropriately classified as the Director of Engineering Services. So that's why he is coming forward again today for confirmation into this new job title with expanded duties. He does meet the minimum qualifications for that classification, which is a 4-year degree and 8 years experience in progressively responsible positions in public works. Any questions on Kyle before I move on?
Yeah, so who is our city engineer then, and how does that work with a director of engineering services that doesn't have an engineering degree?
So our city engineer work is actually delegated to Dan Buller and Catherine Miller within the city, and we've delegated that through an MOU with MMP. So they perform the duties of the city engineer.
So just what I'm hearing is we have 2 city engineers then.
They're not full-time engineers. They perform different aspects of the city engineer work, and they receive an ad to pay for that. But we do not have an individual classified as the city engineer.
So that's kind of where it would be important to understand what the charter says about requiring that. And there are signature plates often, as they all know, that require a signature by the city engineer. So I just would like to clear that up before we make this appointment. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, both those 2 that are delegated duties of city engineer, they are authorized to sign as the city engineer for the city. So Mr. Tuig, in his current position, nor under this new job title, would have the responsibility or authority to do that.
And just
so that delegation would continue to be upon those 2 individuals.
I just think it would be real good to have clarity as who would have the ultimate authority, because if there was a dispute, we need to have one person in charge.
Okay. I can provide some follow-up with I can send council the MOU that I think kind of outlines the different work areas that those 2 individuals are responsible for.
Councilmember Stratton.
I'm just curious what the salary increase or what the percentage of the increase is from the position he's currently in to this new one.
I believe it's a 2-range increase, but I will verify that and I can follow up with an email.
Thanks.
Councilmember Kinnear.
Meanwhile, back at whether it's required in part of the charter, could somebody send us, or I certainly could look, but I think we all need to see what exactly the charter says before we move much further on this.
So at this time, are we willing to pull this off consent and defer it? Is that the will of council at this time?
Is it on the agenda? I don't think it's on the agenda yet. It's filed for the 30th.
It was actually on consent. It was on consent for today.
I don't believe so. I think it's on consent for the meeting, but not for the agenda.
Okay. All right. Megan, if you go on then to item D.
Actually, there's two other appointments for confirmation in addition to Kyle. Do you want me to address those or?
Yeah.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
second is the appointment of Stephen McDonald to the Community and Economic Development Director. Stephen is an external candidate. He was recruited through an open national recruitment process. We ultimately received 16 applications. 13 of those met the minimum qualifications. We whittled it down to 2 finalists, and Stephen McDonald is being brought forth for consideration for confirmation. And the third is the appointment of Chris Averett to the Solid Waste Disposal Director. Chris has worked for the city since 2016 as the Waste to Energy Assistant Plant Manager, and then most recently as the Acting Waste to Energy Plant Manager. So the promotion into this position would give him oversight over both the waste to energy operations and the solid waste collections operations.
Councilmember Stratton.
That confuses me a little bit. Help me out here. Don't we have a director of solid waste in Dustin Bender? Wasn't that his position?
Yes, Dustin is the Director of Solid Waste Collections. This would be the director that has functional oversight over both collections and the waste to energy plant. So they would oversee all solid waste operations for the city. So Dustin Bender would report up to him, and then the waste to energy plant manager would also report to Chris in this new role. It's similar to the position Chuck Conklin was in. Chuck also had the treatment plant underneath him. Those duties are now under Raylene Jeanette as the wastewater director. So it's a restructured classification, similar to what Chuck did with a smaller scope.
Councilmember Kinnear.
Megan, what's the status of the civil rights person that we agreed to hire prior to an economic development director?
The reposting of the position closed yesterday, and we have forwarded the candidates that met the minimum qualifications to Carly Courtright as the hiring manager. It's my understanding they're going to review those applications ASAP and get interviews scheduled. So the goal is to have somebody selected by the end of this month.
This is Karen. I have a question. And has that been confirmed that civil rights position will be a full-time position?
The initial position is for a project position. The project employee will help to kind of better inform what the permanent position will be, but the plan is there will be a permanent position created and filled probably after about this first year, while the project employee kind of gets their feet underneath them and can help us outline that work.
Okay, so I will just say we're not voting on that today, right? That's not coming up tonight.
No.
Correct? We're not voting on this tonight, correct?
No.
No.
Okay, so I will just say that for further meetings and further information down the road, that has to be a full-time position. We've been asking for that for a long, long time, and I just want to be one to speak out and say, that really needs to be a full-time position. So I just wanted to be noted as supporting that.
Thank you. Councilmember Kinnear.
This has been funded since 2017. It has not been filled. It was supposed to be a full-time position, not a project employee, and I won't support anything less.
Councilmember Mumm.
This is a question on the approval process, and I think we cleared this up last time, but the appointment process by the council is the start date for work. We have had a situation in the past where someone was brought on and paid and working prior to being approved by council. I just want to make it clear that our understanding is that even if offers are made, until the council has acted, the person is not approved.
That's correct.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering, so to do this have this position serve as anything but a project employee would have to go through the civil service process, correct? And wouldn't that delay even the creation of this by many, many months?
That's correct. That's kind of what drove the project employee route to start.
And as a project employee, would it not be full-time, 40 hours a week as a project employee?
Yes, that's correct. They will be a full-time project employee, just not an FTE for the city. So I think the project position is approved for 1 year. So by the end of that first year, we should have the process with civil service worked out so that we can fill the position permanently.
Without benefits, correct?
It all depends on who's hired into the position. If they've performed work for the city in a different project position or temp seasonal capacity in the past, there's different rules for benefits. So it's really person specific if they have prior time with the city. But typically project employees do not have benefits.
Councilmember Stratton, and then we're going to have to wrap this up.
Just one more thing, and then I promise I'll shut up. This position, many years ago at City Hall, the mayor's office had a director of diversity or human rights, whatever it was called. So it shouldn't be that hard for civil service or HR or both to work together to get this out there and get that process started. This isn't like we're starting from scratch because there are job descriptions. In fact, in my time at City Hall, we'd had 3 or 4 people in that position, and then the position itself went away. But I just would think that it shouldn't take a year to work that out with civil service and get somebody in that position. That's just my opinion, knowing the past like I do and knowing that that was a full-time position with the city for many years up until the Condon administration.
So Megan, I'm going to ask you to comment on D, please, and then we're going to move forward.
And I think Terry Pfister is here to help with that as well.
I'm actually not able to brief that one. So if Terry is on, I think it'd be best for her to take that.
And I'm assuming we're talking about the proposed ordinance to update titles in the Spokane Municipal Code?
Yes.
Correct? Okay. This is a proposal to add some language to the Spokane Municipal Code so that the city clerk's office can update titles that are outdated. When the city passes organizational ordinance changes, they often don't catch all the rest of the title changes. And so we have some outdated title changes in there. For instance, asset management director position should be updated to fleet facilities. I think it's facilities management director. And there's some other changes, like I think Sally Stouffer's position was updated slightly and it has some additional words or additional added to her title or modifications to her title. And I'm trying to think of what other ones there are. We had a request to see if we could make the updates clerically, but I didn't feel comfortable updating them clerically without having that explicit language in the municipal code to allow the city clerk's office to make those updates. So do you have any questions on that?
Any other questions for Terry? Thank you, Terry. I think that covers it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well then, let's just jump right into the rest of our meeting today. We're going to hear from Paul and Josie on the SBO for police reform, which is state funding. Paul, take it away, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, City Council. First SBO is on PDF page 161 in your packet. SBO to receive and appropriate legislation implementation funds. The state biennial budget included a $20 million distribution to cities to assist with one-time costs related to law enforcement and criminal justice-related legislation enacted between January 1st, 2020 and June 30th, 2021. The city's share is approximately $890,000, and the SBO would book the revenue and allocate the funds and require quarterly reports on the use of the funds to the mayor and the city council. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Paul? All right, thank you, Paul, for that. Moving right along, we're going to hear from Michelle Hughes on the SBO for Public Safety.
Good afternoon, Council. Thank you. On page 164 of your packet, 163 and 64, I'm bringing forth an SBO to allocate the reserves that have been accumulated in the Asset Management Fund of debt over debt service that has been deposited in every year since 2014. We've deposited the 1% sales tax, and it has grown and grown and grown and grown, and we have paid debt service, and there is a surplus of funds there. And we are asking to bring forth an SBO to allocate those funds to the police department and to the fire department, because this year we had no SIP funding and they had no capital funding for their capital purchases. We allocated the funds based on the percentage of what they would have received of the SIP loan as it was calculated in 2019 when the resolution was passed.
Councilmember Munn?
How much is there now, and how much do you project going forward?
I haven't looked at projections going forward. Right now, there's about 3.4 million, and we had divvied it up based on the percentage of allocation that they were supposed to get from their original loan. It's about 1.7 million to each agency, and zero projected.
Councilmember Munn?
And is that restricted to equipment only purchases?
It is restricted for capital purchases only or debt service.
Thank you. That just reaffirms my question I had for Finance Director Wallace. It's like, are we looking at all these pots of money that are kind of out there that we should be making sure they're utilized or being rolled back into what the original intent was? Thank you, Michelle, for that. Any other questions for Michelle? Thank you. In that case, we'll go on to Dusty Fredrickson for the SBO for Consulting Services. Dusty?
I am. Thank you very much for having me this afternoon. I am requesting an SBO to move salary savings to be repurposed into the PMO's contract service fund so that we can get some help on the project management side of the house as well as the continuous improvement side of the house this year. So on the project management side, we're looking to bring someone in who can really back support me and take some of my projects on so I can help the other project managers deliver some of the larger systems like Utility Information System and E-Series this year. And then on the continuous improvement analyst side, this person will be partnering with Erica Jacobo to analyze our complete citywide payment collection and processing landscape so that we can help support the migration from the U.S. Bank, the current payment gateway, to the new future state payment gateway, as well as find other opportunities to save money in transactions and to optimize processes and to make best use of the many tools that we have out there for collecting and processing payments. So that's a big initiative. That's the sum of it. The project management funding is looking to come out of the salary savings for a senior project manager we've had this year, as well as the continuous improvement funding would come out of the salary savings for a vacant CI position we've had this year as well. And we are working with civil service to get those two positions filled, so we have that additional capacity full-time on the team.
Any questions for Dusty before I let you go on? Dusty, you want to go ahead then and talk about D, the amendment?
Is that the amendment for the Volt contract? I didn't get the agenda, so I'm flying blind a little bit here.
Yes, it is.
Okay, yes. That is, we have an outstanding contract with Volt that we are going to amend and work through Volt to get those resource positions filled. They're one of our trusted partners for providing staff augmentation, basically. So that amendment corresponds with the bringing on of these resources.
Thank you. Any questions for Dusty? We appreciate and we know the help is needed.
Thank you.
All right, then let's go on to our SBO for Facilities Administration, and we have Jeff Teal with us. Jeff?
Good afternoon, council members. This SBO is for an admin specialist position. Facilities does not have any admin support and hasn't, I guess, for quite some time. We're looking at bringing on a maintenance management system, and I need somebody to help own that to grow a maintenance system for the city. This will be funded out of salary savings that came from the custodial, not knowing when we're going to open up City Hall. Those positions were on hold because of the building wasn't being occupied. And as you know, I just came in 4 months ago, so I can't really answer for what happened before that, but that's where that position would be funded from.
Great. Any questions for Jeff on that? Then Jeff, you want to continue on with the facilities maintenance program?
Sure, thank you. This is for asking from the dollars from our revenue account. We had an emergency repair on the intermodal of an HVAC controls upgrade. That was not funded for that building to get that emergency repair taken care of. And also there was a large project for the clerk's office in the water building, which was approximately $55,000. That facilities did the upgrade for that building, but again, we weren't funded for that. And it came back, as if I'm understanding this correctly, it was charged to the water department. The water department then reimbursed us and it went into the revenue account. I'm asking to get those funds back so I can continue to provide maintenance to the city.
Thank you. Any questions for Jeff? Jeff, I think that makes complete sense to all of us. So thank you for that.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. We're now going to go on to the SBO for the cooling centers and warming hazard events. Jacob Miller.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ultimately, the purpose of this SBO is to appropriate $150,000 to fund an increase in the number of days and hours that cooling centers and safe air centers will be provided for vulnerable citizens. The additional funding is needed in order to comply with the recent amendments to the activation criteria for those centers. The changes were in SMC Chapter 18.05, and those changes were approved on July 12th as part of Emergency Ordinance C36077. The cooling centers are now required to be available when the forecasted temperature is 95 degrees or greater for 2 consecutive days. The prior requirement was 3 consecutive days of 100 degrees or more. So there will be quite a few more days where cooling centers will be necessary. And then the safe air centers, just a slight change for those with the air quality index reaching 250 or higher. The centers will be open for the entire day rather than just for those hours where it's over 250. So between the change in the activation criteria and just the weather we've been having this year, we're looking to increase funding there for those. Thank you for your time, and I can take any questions.
So, Jake, how many days is that buying us approximately for keeping the cooling warming centers open, that $150,000?
I'm not sure exactly how many days, but I know, like, comparing the years prior to, here I can pull something up for you. So for the cooling centers specifically, comparing prior years to the new threshold of 95 degrees or greater with 2 consecutive days and the former threshold of 3 days of 100 degrees or more, we basically had zero. We would have had 0 days of the cooling centers with the old threshold until 4 this year with the particularly hot weather, and the new threshold providing us with a total of 50 over the course of that time. So 50 compared to 4, or this year 17 compared to 4 with the old threshold. So it is a large increase, and going through the rest of the year, we've yet to see kind of what we need to do. But with the increase in the temperature this year, this funding will go toward the 13 extra days, essentially.
Thank you. Any other questions for Jacob on the warming cooling centers and the SBL? Hearing none, thank you so much for that. And we are glad that we have the warming and cooling centers this year. It has been essential. And I know council is very supportive of those centers being available to our citizens. Now I want to move on to Margaret for the SBO for the Truth Ministries Shelter Extension Contract. Margaret, if you would brief us on that, please.
Actually, Margaret's out today, so this is Kirsten. We sent a note earlier, but so it'll be Tanya Wallace and myself. So these are kind of back to back. I don't know if you want to do the contract extension first or the SBO first.
Let's do the contract extension, then go into the SBO. Thank you.
Okay, so I can cover the contract extension. So basically, this is an extension with Truth Ministries to maintain the level of service for 40 spaces for night-by-night shelter for men through June of 2022. So currently, their contract expires at the end of August, and so this would start in September.
So initially, Kristen, the original contract was to provide 75 low barrier night-by-night shelters, and it was changed to 40. The significance of that?
Actually, it's my understanding that that was a typo. 75 was the overall capacity they have there, and it has always been a contract for 40 beds or 40 spaces.
Thank you. Tanya, you want to go ahead and give us it? Oh, Council President Beggs?
Yes. I can't really talk very well. I'm going to put something in the chat, so just hang on for a second.
So Truth offers to do 24/7. Does that accomplish? That was the question Council President had in the chat. Can anyone speak to that?
I'm not aware that that was part of the discussion. This is an extension of what they currently provide, which is overnight. But I can go back to that, but that would be a different scope of services.
Council President, just so you know, I did reach out to City Administrator Johnny Perkins with that same question and have not had a response back, so we will see where that gets us. Tanya.
Thank you, council members. Now, on the financial side of this issue with the extension of the contract, the funding source will come from two different sources, and that is what the SBO in front of you is, and that is for a total of $486,000, where part of it is funded from the remaining unawarded funds of CDBG CV grant, and then the balance would come from the unappropriated general fund reserves to almost $189,000. Are there any questions, council members?
I'm sorry, how much is coming out of general fund, Tanya?
About $189,000.
And the CDBG amount was?
$264,000.
And those are CDBG funds from the previous year that was left?
These are special CDBG dollars related to COVID. So this was a separate award that the city had received.
Thank you. Any other questions for Tanya on the Truth Ministries shelter? All right, hearing none. Thank you so much. And again, much needed in our city. So right now, we are going to hear from Shauna Harshman around the sole source contract for the Pomegranate Associates. Shauna, if you want to give us an update on that, please.
Yes, and I'll keep it very brief for you. So what is being briefed for you is a resolution coming forward that is declaring Pomegranate Associates as the sole source provider for both facilitation services and workshop design services as part of the new traffic calming program. And after doing extensive research on 35 other agencies that offer facilitation services throughout the state of Washington, as provided by the MRSC for the state of Washington, Pomegranate Associates came to the top as the only one not only offering facilitation training services in the model that we're looking for, but that also has that skill set in helping design and develop our community workshops, which are integral to rolling out the new traffic calming program, as we'll be having workshops with all 29 neighborhoods starting later this year. So a contract will be coming forward later this month, but this is a resolution authorizing a sole source contract with Pomegranate. Thank you.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, just for clarification, is this to facilitate a kind of a community-wide discussion, or is this specifically for the members of the traffic calming committee?
Oh, that's a great question. So this is actually twofold, where the first part will be facilitation training for city staff in the council office, in neighborhood services, and planning and engineering, but with the end goal of facilitating that community-wide workshop model with all of the 29 neighborhoods. So that'll be citywide.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And Shauna, what's the length of time that this will cover to get this work done with this agency?
It should cover just over a year period. And so what we're looking at in this contract is not only staff training, but staff support ongoing as we're working through these community workshops, as well as some follow-up evaluation of our process. So the contract would be beginning as soon as it is approved and go through next summer.
Thank you. Any other questions for Shauna on this? Thank you, Shauna. Hearing none, we're going to move on to Megan Stoffelsson around the 2014-2019 ADA section of our transition plan. Megan, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wilkerson. So there's a bit of history to this that I'm going to try and kind of walk you all through. Unfortunately, I really wasn't involved in all the work that went into this, but it's kind of on my plate now to get this plan retroactively approved so that we can start the required 5-year updates. So I'm requesting retroactive council approval for the 2014 through 2019 ADA Section 504 transition plan. This is a requirement outlined in Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, and then recent amendments. So there's the 4 administrative requirements that apply to the City of Spokane. Designation of an ADA coordinator, which we have done, that's the HR director. Development of an ADA grievance and complaint procedure, that is complete. We're required to complete a self-evaluation of all facilities, programs, and services. That is currently incomplete and requires a 5-year update. And then development of a transition plan if our self-evaluation identifies any accessibility deficiencies. That is complete, but that ADA transition plan that was compiled in 2015 was never brought forward to council for formal approval. So if you go to our ADA page on the city's website right now, it just shows draft ADA transition plan. And so the action I'm requesting from council would move that into final format. So The reason I'm asking for retroactive approval is because the city went through an exhaustive effort to create this original ADA transition plan, and that work began back in 2012. The work was completed in December 31st of 2015, which required extensive citizen and stakeholder input. At the completion of that period, the ADA transition plan should have been presented to council in order to be executed as final in 2016. Due to a series of staff changes from the HR analyst working on it to the HR director at that time, we can only assume this plan just kind of got lost in the shuffle in 2016, and it was an oversight that it was never brought forward. So it's critical that this plan be retroactively approved so that the city can become compliant with Section 504 and the ADA, and so that we can initiate a 5-year update to this plan. We actually should have started that 5-year update last year in 2020. So failure to retroactively approve this ADA transition plan would mean that the city is not in compliance, and we are subject to violations by the Department of Justice. So if council does approve this plan retroactively, the 5-year update will start in 2022, and it's our intent to hire a consultant that really specializes. They'll be a subject matter expert in ADA transition plan updates, and they'll guide the city through that process. So what they'll do is they'll take a look at the facility updates identified in this original plan. They'll check to see if we've made those updates. If we haven't, why not? And then they'll do a full review of all city facilities, existing and new ones, to identify the next set of updates that would need to happen over the next 5 years. It's very common for organizations like ours to outsource this work. It's really important that we have somebody that knows the ADA inside and out and can really walk all of our departments through the process. And then on the briefing paper I submitted, I kind of attached a further timeline if that's of help at all. But I just do want it on everybody's radar that we have received an ADA complaint because we're out of compliance with this. So if we do not take action to get this work moving forward so that we can do the updates, the Department of Justice will potentially intervene. Any questions?
Councilmember Stratton.
So my first question is do other organizations and other municipalities retroactively sign things like that? I mean, it feels to me like I guess I'd want an ethical reading on that, if that's an ethical thing to do. And then my second is, how many other cities our size have gone this long without anything in place? I mean, that makes me a little nervous that we haven't had anything, and now we're speeding up to get it started and then signing it retroactively. Have we looked at what other cities do in a case like this?
Yeah, so I think I should first clarify, it's not that the city hasn't done anything. For all intents and purposes, we thought this plan was the ADA transition plan. There's been identified updates, I think over the last 5 or so years, updates have been made to those facilities. We just need this plan formally approved by City Council so that we can continue to use it as the baseline for the future updates. And then once we hire that consultant, they're going to actually produce an updated report in 2022 that's an addendum to this plan. It is unfortunately fairly common for organizations to be somewhat out of compliance with this work. It's a very extensive process. Even talking to the complainant, he's very familiar with other cities, and he actually worked with, I think, the city of Lewiston to update their plan. So it is unfortunately a common problem, but I think right now that we've identified that it was never formally approved, we want to make sure that we can memorialize that so that we can kind of codify the updates that we've already made and then figure out our updates going forward.
So if I were doing research and I called the city HR department and said, can you tell me how many residents requested special hearing devices for public meetings within City Hall? Well, we can't use this year, but in year whatever, 19, you know what I'm saying. Would we have that number? Because you say we've been doing it, but I mean, would we?
Yeah. We do. So I've been the designated ADA coordinator for the last probably 2 years. So as citizens have complaints or need different assistive devices, they would contact me. And that also goes for internal employees. If they require an accommodation on the job, they also come through human resources. So we have been actively following the ADA. It's just unfortunately this comprehensive transition plan was really never approved final by City Council. But for all intents and purposes, it's been followed, and we've been following the ADA in all other aspects for accommodations.
Thanks.
So we are like in the catch-22. We approve or we're sued. So I did appreciate your question about the ethics of that, Councilmember Stratton. Look forward to maybe a little bit more feedback on that, but at this point, unless we hear something, like we'll be proceeding forward. Thank you, Megan, for that. Any other questions for her before we move on? Great. We had a request for a update. Megan, stick around. You're up next on the additional personnel holiday hours report. If you give us would you just brief that for us, how we got here? Or Councilmember Mumm, do you want to tee that up?
Go ahead.
Megan, go for it.
Okay, thank you. And I apologize that I wasn't able to brief this at the July meeting. I know it was a request then, and I was out of town. So back in late June, the city had really recognized that staff had faced a number of unprecedented challenges over the last year and a half as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. It significantly altered the way employees were performing their jobs, how they interacted with one another, and it also brought significant changes to our employees' home lives. The result of all of this really prevented staff from being able to obtain adequate rest and really maintain a healthy work-life balance. Also, just as back in June, we thought that the pandemic was easing, we had record-setting temperatures hit Spokane, and so through the months of June and July, employees were really working in unbearable working conditions. Adding to all that stress was the planned reopening of City Hall and other city facilities and transitioning employees that had been working off-site from their homes for the last year and a half. And from what we've seen with the partial reopening up until that time, additional time really was needed to help employees readjust to moving back into the workplace, interacting in person with one another, and kind of all that goes along with that. So in recognition and appreciation of the employees' dedication throughout the last year and a half, the mayor did authorize an additional 16 hours of floating holidays for non-public safety staff, and those were all executed through agreements with each of those bargaining units. We executed an MOU with each of them. The reason it was limited to non-public safety is because before offering the benefit, we reviewed the operational and budgetary impacts of the one-time thank you. And it was determined that those impacts would be minimal because these positions are typically not backfilled with overtime, whereas public safety, anytime an officer or a firefighter is not here, we have to backfill them with overtime. So the financial impact was minimal. Additionally, the floating holidays have to be used by December 31st of this year. They cannot be rolled over, nor can they be cashed out. So there's really no cash value that they could gain from it. So that kind of sums up kind of the reasoning behind that. And I'm certain some of you have some questions, so I'm happy to take those.
Councilmember Mumm?
I would like a financial estimation, though. I think it's important for us to understand what the financial impact was. So I realize that it may take some time to come up with an estimate. It doesn't have to be exact. And secondarily, at least in my history at the city, any changes to any labor agreements need to go through City Council, and we're not briefed. We were not told of this in advance. It was announced and even impacted our own staff members. So I'm just wondering what the conversation was about council's involvement in this decision.
So typically the execution of MOUs and supplemental agreements, those are negotiated between the administration and the union. So the collective bargaining agreements are really the only contracts that are brought forward to City Council. So that was really what occurred with that, is it was negotiated as we negotiate most all MOUs with the bargaining units.
And what discussion did you have about including City Council in this decision?
I don't believe there was a discussion on that.
Megan, being new, I just question, where does the authority lie in making that decision? Is that really the purview of the mayor just to declare holidays like that? Not that I'm against them. I just want to, where does the authority land? How does that?
Yeah, the authority lies between administration and the labor union. So that's how it results in the memorandum of understandings, where we execute those agreements with specific signatures that have to be on that. But again, those are between the city administration and the labor unions directly.
Any other questions for Megan on this topic? Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, thank you. I guess I'd just say I think an update would have been great for council, particularly just to think about just, unforeseen impacts, which I haven't heard of any, but I think that would be something definitely to bring, to our attention. And frankly, I don't have any issues with the idea of providing this time off. As has been pointed out, it's been a really tough 18 months, and I think anything we can do to be helpful for the employees with some sort of a like that is a good thing. As long as we can avoid unintended consequences in doing so. And so, yeah, I think an update to council would have been beneficial, but I think the idea of providing that time off was a good one.
Thank you, understood, and I totally agree. I think the more communication, the better on these issues. So I will keep that in mind going forward.
Councilmember Munn?
Yeah, I just think it's worth a discussion with us and the mayor's office in the future to have unlimited authority to give that number of staff time off without talking about the budget impact and the service impact to the community. Without knowing what the dollar figure was, it seems like the decision was made without looking at the financial impact. So that concerns me. We may need to look at a policy about something like this going forward if the city legal has determined that this is in the mayor's purview to change these contracts and have budgetary impact without including us. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Megan. To all of our city employees, if you are watching, we support showing you the love and acknowledge the work that you have done. So please don't misunderstand our conversation. We just wanted clarity. But you all deserve it, and thank you for the work that you have done over these last 18 months. I always say it's kept the lights on in the city, and we really appreciate that. Again, thank you, Megan. We are now going to go on to an update on our mental health crisis facility stabilization. And Adrian Schmidt, are you out there?
Good afternoon, Council. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. I have with me Dan Ziegler, who is the Eastern Washington Director of Pioneer Human Services, who will take most of the presentation today. So I just wanted to make sure he's on. If something came up and he's not able to, I'm happy to do it on his behalf. So,
right.
I guess I don't see him. So, inside the packet, and I will be happy to either share my screen or go via the packet. I'm not sure what your preference is.
Why don't you go ahead and share if
okay.
you have that ability, or Kennelie can assist you with that.
All right, I have it all queued up here, and I'm happy to do that. All right. So the first thing I'd like to share with you is that we're here. Can't believe it, but we're finally here. We're on the T-minus less than a couple months before we open. And just as a housekeeping, the new official title of this facility will be the Spokane Regional Stabilization Center. We've been using the working title of Mental Health Crisis Stabilization Facility and that really lovely acronym for quite some time now. But in talking with communication directors, Pioneer, as well as many of our community partners. The regional aspect, the notation of Spokane and Stabilization Center were really the important facts. So for the time being, just so you're aware, we'll always kind of have in parentheses working title MHCSF, just so everybody remembers what we're talking about. But the signage and recognition here forward is that new name. So just to revisit, the individual and system impacts on this center in our community is really multifold. First and foremost, the impact is diversion for individuals who come in contact with crisis responders due to mental health crisis or substance use disorder, including detoxification needs. We've had a lot of changes since we started this adventure back in 2017 in the landscape of diversion and mental health intersects. And so we're really excited that we have been able to right-size this for where all of that is today as another tool set for officers in lieu of the emergency room and jail booking. Once again, the reduction in recidivism is really to help individuals in contact with first responders who can't utilize crisis intervention techniques on scene and help an individual where they are, or bring in a co-deployed unit that has a mental health worker and either a paramedic or EMS or a law enforcement officer and assess on scene for intake the next step. And that would be this facility for that individual who is eligible to come to this facility. We realize that a lot of times we might have life restarts, and if we can give an individual an opportunity for a life restart instead of a criminal recidivism, that is definitely going to be in everybody's favor. Additionally, the inefficiencies currently into reentry, meaning what happens after someone is out of crisis and getting to that next care. So this facility run by Pioneer is intended to have 100% of the patients have a warm handoff at their next step when they leave, whether that's to housing, whether that's to other coordinated care for additional treatment. That is really where we're wanting to keep that gap from happening. Lastly, that I already talked about was the reduced ER or ED utilization, as well as ensuring all those that can or are enrolled in Medicaid are submitted for reimbursements. So this is where the facility is. It's 1302 West Gardner. So it's literally kitty corner from the county complex. This was actually very strategic because it's close enough in the event that we do need to involve any of our first responders. We have access to the public safety campus, but it's far enough away from the courthouse and the justice world that individuals do feel like they're going into treatment. So it really was a uniquely suited spot. So here's that bird's eye view of where this is located, just to jog your memory. That large building up there at the top is the STA barn. How our offering model by Pioneer Human Services is the same or differs in a number of our mentor sites. We had about 6 mentor sites from across the country, all the way from Bexar County, Texas, that served San Antonio, to closer to home in King County and Snohomish. So we will have 16 mental health crisis stabilization beds. That's the max amount of beds that you can have in a non-hospital setting right now due to federal CMS code. We will have a flexible amount of withdrawal management and detox beds. That's 14. And then a flexible amount of intensive inpatient beds, which is 16. And what intensive inpatient means is an individual may be out of the acute crisis, but still has medically necessary need for oversight before they can either go out on their own or to the next step, and that is where that is. And as you can see, we are really one of the first to include all of that on site, which is really going to be remarkable. This is just another view. This is the floor plan of the facility. The top of the page is north. So first responders will come into the Sallyport. A quick medical clearance check will be done. Right now, we're looking at a 10-minute turnaround so that first responders can get back out the door. And then depending on where that individual is at, they will either go into the mental health crisis unit, the withdrawal management unit, and then ultimately into the intensive inpatient unit. This was the rendering that our architects did for us. And then this is a picture that was taken not even a month ago of what it looks like today. So we've taken a 1913 shell of a building, and it is remarkable. So we're very, very excited that reality is coming. This is an example of the sleeping area in those half-wall concepts that will be put together before patients are brought in. And then these are a few of the timelines that we've been working with Pioneer, with Spokane County, and a number of state partners in getting our readiness for this fall. They include construction, programming from the Pioneer side for staff and policies and procedures, working with law enforcement for the exchange environment to make sure that we are in lockstep with them, as well as contracting with the managed care organizations that will be providing the Medicaid reimbursement, and the Department of Health, which will do both a building-specific and provider-specific, meaning Pioneer licensure for Department of Health qualifications. So if you guys have not already received this, you are all extraordinarily invited to the ribbon cutting ceremony in September on the 13th. There'll be a full tour there. Pioneer will be able to answer any of your questions. Really excited to show this with you because City of Spokane has been just a phenomenal partner in this. And once again, you are all invited to attend and see what this is all about. I did want to share just a few questions that have come up. We briefed the county commissioners and City of Spokane Valley Council last week, and they had some questions that I thought you might have. And once I talk about these, I'll open it up if there's any other questions specific to City of Spokane Council. First and foremost, there was questions about the population management or the milieu model as far as how that would occur. And right now, the open floor concept where all of the genders are there together has really been proved to be the best environment for stabilization. Small individual or two-person rooms actually do not add to an individual's ability to relax and stabilize. We have separate rooms and individual restrooms for which privacy could be done, so that then obviously the sleeping areas could be in that open area. They do have some breakout rooms in the event that an individual is uncomfortable or is in need of private areas within the different service areas of crisis stabilization, withdrawal management, and inpatient in-services that can be accommodated. As far as the operating contracts, there's actually two contracts that will be in effect for this to open. The first is a use occupancy agreement between Spokane County and Pioneer Human Services. This was deemed to be a better fit than a lease agreement because Spokane County will stay the owner, but Pioneer will have full use eligibility within the building once their occupancy is granted when the construction window closes. And then there will be a complementing operating contract, once again, between Spokane County and Pioneer on a yearly budget for service model. We're really excited that we don't need to do additional interlocal agreements or going back to those of you that have been around for a while, the concept of a municipality fee. We have landed quite well on the funding with the managed care organizations, the Behavioral Health Administrative Service Office for funding sources shared by the region, as well as some grants. So this will be able to be utilized by Spokane County as well as our other surrounding accountable communities of health law enforcement agencies without the need for that municipality delta to be included. Lastly, we're in our final stages of reconciling our budget versus actual, and we're right on target. And it really is exciting to say that no debt has been incurred in this project, that we have stayed fully within our budget. So that was the quick update that I had. I don't know if Dan has been able to join or if there's any other questions from the group.
I have a question. What is the distinct difference between this facility and Kalispell and Foothill, the other two stabilization locations in the city?
That is an excellent question. And so first and foremost, this facility was birthed, for lack of a better word, out of the need for first responders under the RCWs that they work under to have a place to allow eligible individuals to go instead of escort by law enforcement to the emergency room, or, depending on the charges, book into Spokane County Jail. That's really independent of whether it's book and release or book for classification. And the beauty of that is, particularly with the second one related to not booking into jail, all of this happens prior to any sort of justice system involvement. So what happens is there will be an artifact that a call for service occurred, but there will be no first appearance. There will be no public defender assigned. And so really, you're putting a suspend state on that as agreed upon by the city and the county prosecutor for these diversion eligible RCWs to really give that person a moment in time to once again take a life restart. The other two facilities are primarily aimed for open public access. You as an individual, you as a concerned family or friend can take someone to those facilities and say, can they come here? There isn't really necessarily any involvement with the first responder system. We've had some changes from the Washington State Legislature, as you all are aware, that have kind of caused us to just kind of pivot just a little bit so that our diversion is a little bit wider net than it was, 3-4 years ago. But that is the biggest differentiation, is this one is really meant to be a resource to first responders, where the other ones are definitely meant to give the public first priority. So does that help answer the question?
Yes. And voluntary and involuntary?
So that is an excellent question. So I think we need to make sure, if we're talking about involuntary or voluntary from a psychiatric standpoint versus a law enforcement standpoint, from an involuntary commitment from a medical standpoint, this facility at present does not hold that threshold. This is a stabilization center from a Department of Health standpoint, labeled as a residential treatment facility, an RTF. Those that are the involuntary from a medical side are called an ENT. Now, there's nothing to say that later on down the road it wouldn't get that, but for example, you mentioned the Foothills facility. Half of their facility is very similar to this one. It's a residential treatment facility. The other half, which the two don't mix, is an ENT, which you have to have a medically determined involuntary commitment. So that's where the differentiation is at present.
Thank you. Just more resources for our population that needs that help. Yep. Any other questions going forward? Well, thank you for the update. Much appreciated. And we're glad it's coming in on budget. Something we always like to hear. All right. Moving on, we're going to have a sheltering update by Tanya Wallace. Tanya, welcome back.
Thank you, City Council member. We had this item is really a placeholder in case you had other questions regarding the Truth Ministries. Boy, I just wanted to combine those two words together into something else. Truth Ministries, and there is also a resolution coming up regarding the Way Out Shelter and that financial aspect of it. But we understand that there's been a lot going on with emergency sheltering and such, certainly as the pandemic. So we're open to giving this time. to see if you have any further questions on that we can answer.
Councilmember Mumm?
Yeah, I might as well just get this out of the way. Then I'm sure we can talk about it too at the briefing. But there seems to be some idea that when we made the $500,000 commitment to the bridge shelter, that was somehow a 5-year, $2.5 million deal. And I don't recall that. So maybe you can clear that up for me.
I will certainly do my best. I was not here at the city, so I can certainly share my perspective from the county. And so with that being said, my time at the county, it was understood from the regional governance group at that time that both the city and the county would look at a 5-year commitment to ensure the success of the Way Out Shelter, which was a new concept, is still a very worthwhile concept here in this area to really transition folks out of homelessness into stable housing. And with that, the county commissioners did adopt a resolution to that $2.5 million commitment, where it is $500,000 for 5 years of operations. My understanding of what the city did, and there was a project charter to that effect that was both signed by the city and the county at that time, and then the county took the additional step of a resolution formalizing that commitment. My understanding on the city is that the city did budget $500,000 both in 2020 and in 21 in recognition of that commitment, absent a formal resolution. So that is really the extent of my knowledge about that. Any previous conversations with the city, I'm somewhat unaware of, so I can only share with you my experience from the regional governance group and what my knowledge is from the county side.
So we have reserved $1 million, if I may follow up, Madam Chair. We've reserved $1 million, and then this agreement would be for 3 more years of, so 1.5 beyond what we've already reserved.
The resolution that's in front of you, so yes, First Councilmember Mumm, $500,000 was budgeted in the general fund in 2020. At the end of 2020, we rolled that over for this same purpose and reserved it for bridge or the Way Out Shelter into 2021. And in 2021, there was also the $500,000 budgeted in the general fund for a total of $1 million to date. So the resolution that you have now reaffirms a 5-year commitment for operations, with the $1 million going for the funding gap during the startup period through 2022.
I'd like to work with you offline with Chair Wilkerson. I don't believe the reaffirmation was on the council level. There may have been a commitment otherwise, as far as I know. So we may have other goals as well with the youth shelter for funding. So I think it might be important to get that cleared up before we vote. Thank you.
Very good.
Councilmember Kinnear.
So I want to go back to this piece about where our money comes from, the general fund for this. Tony, where did the county spend their general fund money on this, or did they spend pass-through money?
Councilmember Kinnear, I am not sure, but I can find out.
Because I keep going back to this reoccurring theme that not only are we spending pass-through money, but we are spending our general fund money, and other communities are not stepping up with that same level of commitment.
I will find out, Councilmember.
Sorry. Councilmember Stratton?
I just have a quick question, and I think Brian's on. First, I apologize. I cannot find my packet anywhere on my computer. So my question is, when on this resolution, does this include the Good Neighbor Agreement? Does this have a clause in there that a Good Neighbor Agreement must be signed between the businesses, the city, the county, and the neighborhood?
Councilmember Stratton, I do not know that, and I do not believe that that is part of this resolution. The resolution for this afternoon is really only the commitment on the funding. And I will say there's usually a clause in these commitments that it is still subject to availability of funding.
Okay. Okay, so Brian has put that in the notes, and he's answered my question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cathcart.
Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering. So under this agreement, what would happen with the lower level? That's been a pretty big source of consternation, I think, amongst the neighborhood and the neighbors and the businesses. Is that going to continue as a low barrier shelter? Will it be only in emergency situations, which account for about a third to half the year? Or would there be some other use that would go on there?
Councilmember Stratton, you got an answer for that?
Well, I just wanted to add to it because I want to be very specific in that this neighborhood and these businesses were assured when this all started that it would be a shelter temporary moving into the bridge housing. So there's never been talk of with the neighborhood or the businesses that any part of that shelter facility would be, once it's bridge housing, would be set aside for homeless services. And I think that's, along with Mr. Cathcart, that's a big, big issue with that neighborhood. So that's something we really need to look at and maybe talk about further.
So Council President Beggs did put something in the chat. If we tune into that also. I just know that there's been so much confusion around this funding and this commitment where we were unable to find it actually in writing other than these conversations at the regional level. And I don't think you have any issue with council supporting shelters. That is certainly not it. We just needed clarity on the funding source and the length of time of the commitment without some other accountability pieces built into that, where we could have a say or some continued updates on that. Any other questions for Tanya around this? Certainly after our budgeting meeting today of how much we were going to spend on shelters, this just kind of elevates that even to a higher level of what we're looking at and where that money will come from. So thank you, Tanya.
You're welcome.
All right. Tanya, you're still on board for the take-home vehicle report.
Thank you, council members. Part of this was included in your packet as well. This was a request of Councilmember Kinnear, just wanting to, I'm assuming, to get an update on where we were on take-home vehicles. This question has come up a few times, and we have made some modifications, at least for the non-public safety related vehicles. So I'm going to quickly share that with you, but know that particularly Major McNabb is on the line since police is our largest take-home vehicle department. So let me just do a quick walkthrough, and then we'll see what questions you have. Okay, I assume you all can see this. So this is a very just brief report to tell you where we're at. You can see in terms of the departments that have take-home vehicles. This was the number, and I think Major McNabb actually updated for police. And if you don't have that, we'll make sure that you do get that. But by far and large, they have the most take-home vehicles that they manage for a total of more than 250 vehicles throughout the city. Looking at the fire department, their take-home vehicles, they have 16. And they actually manage those internally with a spreadsheet, and those are designated based on position and title rather than to a specific person. And this is really so that their folks can quickly get to those emergencies and they're usually the administrative ranking folks. The police department, again, I'm not going to say a whole lot here. They do have their own tracking mechanism, a fleet tracker in SharePoint that they use to manage. They do have a lot to manage, and this is usually synced up with our N5 fleet management system. So you're going to hear a lot more about that. Moving on to other city departments. So we did something this summer, not just for take-home vehicles, but for all take-home equipment because of the pandemic, where folks were now working from home and a remote access. And we created something in PeopleSoft, and where we can track citywide, we can have administrative reports, but employees can go in and we can document what they have, when they checked it out, and when they've checked it back in, as well as have the employees acknowledge their responsibilities with take-home equipment and take-home vehicles. So based on our query, we launched this in June, and we asked all departments to enter the relative information by the end of June 30th. And we only had three engineering folks and one code enforcement that have that information entered in there, and that report is included in your packet. One of the things that we will be doing now that we've launched this system is an internal audit. This was originally scheduled a few months ago. We deferred that until after all departments had entered this and were able to comply, and we will be picking up that internal audit again in just a few months. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let Major McNabb now walk you through the police department and provide a little more insight, and then we'll take some questions.
So, Major McNabb, before you start, do you see Council President Begg's questions in the chat?
I do. I was going to get those first if that works for everybody.
Perfect. Thank you.
So, Council President, we do have a policy for take-home vehicles, and that requires that take-home vehicles are essentially only used for official business. However, if you are on call and need to run short errands while you're on call, because many of our detectives and supervisors are on call over the weekend and in the evenings, 24/7 or after hours, and so if they need to run to the store or something like that, they can do that. Or if they're on their way home and they need to stop at the store, they can do that as well. But anything outside of that, it cannot be used for personal business. The GPS, did you have a question, Councilwoman Stratton? Okay. The GPS
Keep going, I'll ask later.
I'm sorry, what?
Keep going, I'll ask later.
Okay. So the GPS is, my understanding is that's in the in-car computer, which is a laptop that's mounted into the car. It's not permanently fixed in the car. So that is beyond my technical know-how of how somebody would disable the GPS tracking system within a laptop, and obviously we know it can be done, but that takes some in-depth technical knowledge, but we don't place GPS trackers on, say, a detective's car that doesn't have an in-car mounted computer. Councilwoman Kinnear.
So I'm not sure it's a GTS, but there is my understanding that all the cars, police and fire, are outfitted with some device, I can't remember what it's called, that will allow it to be located. So if you need to know where somebody is, then you would have that capability, and that is for both police and fire. And it is put in by Fleet, and Fleet can disable it or not. Do you know anything about that?
I'm going to have to check into that, and I think maybe what you're referring to is the fuel tracking system.
It's possible. I just can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I don't know if that has GPS in it or not, and I can find out for you.
I guess so. The reason I'm asking is there's really no way. What I'm hearing you say is this is the honor system, so there's really no way that we can know for certain, other than do an audit of mileage, where and how the vehicles are being used. They could be used to go out to dinner, or they could be used to go on vacation in Idaho or whatever. There's no way we can really know for sure, except this is the honor system. Is that correct?
That's correct. And then if something were to happen while they were doing that unauthorized errand, then there would definitely be severe sanctions for doing something like that.
Councilmember Stratton, thank you for waiting, Karen.
So what about, do these cars get to go to fleet services or wherever and just fill up anytime they need gas, and do we track that?
Yeah, there's a device on the car that allows us to drive up to the city-owned gas station and put in the pump, and it automatically authorizes it to be pumped, and then it records the car number and the mileage. Now, we also get fleet credit cards for gas, and you can use those at any gas station, or there's a lot of them, but there's designated gas stations throughout the county where you can use those, and you have to input the car number and the mileage.
Okay. Thanks.
Councilmember Mum?
So I just want to, maybe it went by and I missed it, but if someone's using that vehicle for personal use, how does that get deducted? How does that get tracked? And how does the city get reimbursed?
It's not authorized. If they do use a personal vehicle for strictly personal use, that's a violation of policy, and there would be an IA investigation or some type of sanction usually in the end.
And that's for police, but is that overall for the whole city? Do you know, Tanya?
Councilmember Stratton?
Last question. So if the council members or council member gets a question out from within the community that has concerns over this issue, who would we send them to?
You can send them to me for now. We are having a fleet manager start, our internal fleet manager beginning work on September 7th. And that's kind of exciting for us because this has always been a collateral assignment for somebody else that's got some very busy job and they're trying to manage two things at once. So this is going to be a great benefit to the city.
And so you would handle if there were concerns for police and for fire vehicles, correct?
I'd handle for police. I don't want to step on Chief Schaefer's shoes, you know.
Oh, Chief Schaefer, do you know who we would send people to if they had questions?
Just to us, just to myself. Or
okay, perfect. Thanks.
So, Councilmember Kinnear?
Sorry, I'm trying to process all this because it's not making sense to me. There's so many holes in this, and I'm not disparaging you at all, Major McNabb. So all vehicles are not created equal, and we have police going out with some cars are more equipped or specialized than others. Is that true or not?
Yeah. Are you're talking just take-home vehicles?
Yes. So
I can give you kind of a brief overview of what that looks like if you think that would help.
Perhaps.
Okay,
I don't know really, and it's not just police, but it's fire too. So we have very specialized fire vehicles as well. That it's my understanding that they are going home with people, whereas they don't necessarily need to.
Right.
And so
the police vehicles is kind of it's unique and it's case by case dependent. But so essentially, all investigators, all detectives have an assigned vehicle. And we have around 76 of those, including investigative supervisors. So they have take-home vehicles because they do on-call rotations. The majority of them do, and they do work. You know, they could go to a call, start work right from their house when they log on to shift, that kind of thing. A good portion of our take-home vehicles are assigned to our specialty teams, who also have on-call responsibilities, like our SWAT team, our hostage negotiators, our bomb technicians, our canines, our TAC team, just a few on the TAC team, our neighborhood resource officers, and our behavioral health resource officers all have take-home cars. And that is nearly half of the take-home cars just in that category alone. And then, like fire, the admin have take-home cars for call-out responsibilities. And the benefit to like the specialty teams having a take-home car is, think about it this way. So there's a SWAT call at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they get a call and they get woke up and they say, well, it's at this location. And so now that they have a take-home car, they have all their equipment already in the car. They can drive straight to the location and be there quicker and be of a benefit to the team faster. Whereas the previous model back a long time ago, they would have to drive to the station, load all their equipment in a vehicle if they could find one, and then drive to the scene, which could take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour delay.
And I will mention for the fire department, at least, our situation is a little bit different. The reason why we don't have that many is we only issue cars by policy to the ones that are on call. So oftentimes the chiefs that have the cars, the MSOs and the investigators are like this morning, when we have a third alarm fire, they're all responding, and it's a 24/7 responsibility if you're a deputy chief or higher. That's my expectation. If they're in our region, they need to be available. So the days of just issuing cars to people had left a long time ago. They're only ones that are equipped either as a licensed DMS unit or they're carrying specialty equipment for the city, like multi-patient equipment or special investigation equipment or EMS and fire. So I think that number 16 may be a little inflated. I only counted 12, but that's where we're at right now.
So if I may, Chairwoman, Brian, don't go away. So does your staff, so people have take-home equipment, is any of that equipment something that is not necessarily going to be used? Has any of that equipment not been used for a long time? Is it just equipment that might be used occasionally?
Well, it's used pretty well every week or every couple weeks. We're busy. We don't have a lot of on-duty resources. Like this morning, and we had close to 70 firefighters on the third alarm fire. So with a number of patients and a lot of complexity. So, and that was following, our chiefs and our own incident management teams that get sent throughout the region and throughout the state, oftentimes with very minimal notice. So we were helping manage a fire up in Stevens County, and we've been pretty well all over the place this year. So we use it very much. I know, in my vehicle I have a full advanced life support complement, and I probably catch, because I live in the city, and probably 10 calls a week or so that where I'm actually treating patients, and that is certainly one of the benefits of having people that live in the community, like the police department. I'm sure it's the same for them.
Thanks.
Thank you. Agent McNabb, I just have one question on the technology. So if a police car is stolen, there's no GPS, don't you have a way to find the stolen police car? Is there something in the car where you could locate it?
Not to my knowledge, Councilwoman, but I will double check on that, especially with that fleet device that tracks the fuel. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna check on that myself and get back to you all on that.
Okay, thank you. And Chief Schaefer, thank you for showing up for the work you did last night. I could see that you're starting to fade a little bit, but thank you for being in the discussion. So. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions on fleet vehicle take-home at this time? All right, thank you both. We look forward to having some of our questions answered at another meeting. Paul and Josie, you get to take us home with the monthly financial reports. As always, thank you. And you can leave your camera off if your kids are still busy.
Oh yeah, they're completely occupied with Sesame Street right now. Thank you again, Madam Chair. I'm going to share a couple of the reports that were sent out. Maybe. Okay, so the first two are the regular financial reports that Amy sent out as part of the packet. This first one is the general fund update through July 2021. It shows a net addition to the general fund budget of approximately $18.5 million. Almost $15 million of that is going to be your encumbrance carryover, which moves budget from one year to the next. The police guild and lieutenants and captains contracts. And you can see the detail broken out on page 2 of those reports as well. There were a couple of additions through SBOs in the third quarter. You can see them listed down on the left: engineering services, probation services, code enforcement, the Lieutenants and Captains Association contract we were able to post. We were waiting on the actuals for that to make sure we lined up the budget with the dollars. And then the last one there for council. Are there any questions on the general fund report? Okay. Scrolling down to the intra-fund budget transfer report for July 2021. And again, these are transfers that move from one type category to a different one. Any questions on the intra-fund budget transfer report? Okay. I'll move on to our one-pager, our general fund financial summary. But I believe if this wasn't part of the packet, we'll make sure that it gets out to everybody as well. Updated rows are in yellow, highlighted yellow. So we added the additional revenue for approved budget changes for quarter 3. That's $72,000 that ties to that probation services SBO, a transfer in for funding for a PO2, probation officer 2 position. Funding for it was transferred into the general fund. And then on the expenditure side, the highlighted third quarter changes, those are the SBOs that we just took a look at, minus the lieutenants and captains one, since accounting had already accounted for that in the 2020 financials. So we don't need to count it twice. It's already taken out of our unappropriate fund balance at the top line. We're going to start updating this for projected fund balance for 2021 when we get into next month, and we have a little bit better of an idea on the revenue and expenditures for current year. But the bottom line is we're anticipating about $7.3 million in revenue stabilization at the end of this current year, $20.2 in contingency reserve, and at this point about $4.4 million in unappropriated general fund balance. Any questions on this monthly report?
Nope.
Okay. Switching over to the PowerPoint. So general fund revenues, again, are approximately 3% above budget through July, and the budget number is a calculation done by the budget office based off of prior year history, when the actuals came into the city, and projecting out from there. So it's about 3% above where we expected it to be, about $98 million collected against the $95 million budget. And it's primarily due to strong sales tax, property tax, and interfund taxes. Sales, property, and utility, they remain approximately 8% above budget through July.
Paul?
Yes.
I'm sorry, can I stop you there? So we were just hearing that sales and property taxes are up, but utility taxes still are lagging. So that's just the average between the three?
Correct. And interfund, these are our city utility taxes.
Okay.
The public utility tax, or private utility taxes, I believe, are the ones that we're not doing as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's just really where we're projecting it and where the actuals are coming in. On the expenditure side, we're about 4% below budget through July, $121 million in expenses against the $126 million budget. And salaries and benefits continue to be the main driver, about $6.5 million below budget, where we expected it to be through July. The one monthly bullet on uniform overtime, and I think this is a question that came up earlier at Urban Experience as well. So through July 2021, police have spent 5% less, and fire has spent 112% more than through the same time period in 2020. Just to give you a sense, I believe the police overtime budget is about $3.6 million. I think year to date, they've spent about 1.8 of that. On the fire side, it's about $2.5 million budget. I believe they spent around 4.2. And some of that will be recovered from the fire mobilization. We'll see some revenue, and we'll have an SDO coming probably later in the fall to book some of that revenue as well.
I just, if I may, jump in real quick on that,
Yes.
Paul. I just want to, and Madam Chair, I want to make sure that when that refund money comes back from wildfire, that goes to the general fund because it's taken out of the general fund, right, to pay for that extra overtime?
I believe it just goes right to the fire special revenue fund, the fire EMS fund. I think they just charge directly to that. So that's it. Wherever it came from, we'll make sure that's where it goes back
That's what I'm looking for, just making sure that loop,
Yep.
that loop happens. And then I just want to go back because you're showing us text instead of an Excel sheet that we saw earlier today. If I could go back to the other slide. You're saying in general, revenues are up, expenses are down. Then where is the gap that you're saying we're not going to be able to make, it's not going to be, we're not going to have is that the 4 million extra we'd have, or I was seeing some more dire predictions than that?
So the more dire predictions are going to be for 2022 at this point, and that sort of goes back to what Gavin referred to as our structural gap, where we're only bringing in about $3 million increased revenue each year, but our expenses are outpacing that by a slightly higher amount. But I'll show the Excel table in a couple of slides to at least show the 2021 figures. Yeah, that we're looking at. Just a quick chart on the monthly general fund revenue. Again, $3 million above budget, about 3%. Total general fund revenue is about 6% above fiscal 20, which not surprising since of how everything sort of tanked last year. So you can see we're trending a little bit above in a couple of the most recent months for all revenue sources in the general fund. And this is the very not neat Excel snapshot we take from sort of the monthly tracking that we're doing. Local retail sales tax at the top. It's about 4.3 million above where we expected it to be, at about 5 million above fiscal 20 through July. And again, this counts retail sales revenue from May activity. We have a 2-month lag. So this is really picking up the peak of the stimulus money from this year and how low it was compared to this point last year. Property taxes about 1.2 million above where we expected it to be, 1.6 million above prior year. Interfund taxes, again, these are the city utility taxes, slightly above, about 3%, 600,000. And then you can see the tax on private utilities, we're about 3% down. So between these two categories, they almost net out. And again, the gold bar on the left and right, the yellow bar on the left and right, this is, I believe, 90% of all the revenue in the general fund contained within these categories. So everything below that is only equals about 10% of the revenue. Any questions on this chart before I move on? Okay. So this table looks at taxable sales. For May 2021, they were up about 22% compared to May 2020. Retail trade continues to be strong against the prior year. It's about 16% above. Construction, 18% above. And a positive sign, accommodation and food services, up 41% above May 2020. Total taxable sales were approximately 597 million, which is an increase of about 108 million over May 2020. And then year-to-date, overall taxable sales are up 27% compared to the same time period in 2020. And then this table looks at year-to-year changes in sales tax received, and I highlighted city down towards the bottom. So all the way on the right-hand side, our July 2021 is about 22% above July 2020, and you can see a couple months of strong increases over prior year, preceded by a couple of middling months over prior year. This is just what it looks like on a graph with a couple of selected locations, Spokane, Seattle, Tacoma, the Valley, and then the county. And again, this is year-to-year changes or year-over-year changes. And if we get rid of the west side, what it looks like for our three over here. The Valley had a higher spike, but we're all sort of ending up in the same spot, July 21 compared to July 2020. And then one last little slide on expenses. Again, through July 2021, general fund expenses approximately 5 million below budget, or 4%. And again, by category, salary benefits, the largest 11% below, and services about 6% above where we had calculated them to be. I believe that's it. I'm happy to take any questions.
Could you go back to that last slide, Paul, please?
I will certainly try. Let me see.
So you may have answered the question, but what was the spike in May?
What is the cost?
So this is the accounting weirdness, where we had the guild contract actually, and we had some prior period adjustments that happened in January, which made it look like super low expenses, even though we're pretty much steady around that midpoint there.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions for Paul before we let him go? Thank you, Paul, as always. You're succinct and within your time frame. Much appreciated. If there are no other questions or concerns to come before the Finance Committee today, our next meeting will be Monday, September 20th at 1:15. Please join us, and we will see some of you at our briefing at 3:15. Thank you and have a great afternoon.